All right. Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your Monday night here with us at Edmonds Civic Roundtable. To those of you I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Nicole Gava, and I serve on the board of the Edmonds Civic Roundtable. Who has been here before? Raise your hand. Okay, great. Welcome back. You probably know what I'm about to say. But here at ECR, our mission is to empower neighbors through information. And we're all neighbors here, first and foremost, so thank you so much for being a friendly neighbor to us all. But more than that, we also take pride in being a volunteer-led civic organization and a civil organization. So we hope we can remember to be kind as we speak to our neighbors tonight, and to be open to the information that will be shared by our speakers, which they prepared for us all. So, a couple things. We know that this event and this program occurs during a period of change for the city and our nation. We've just had a very contentious election, and our nation is not without its challenges, both politically and financially. Our city will likely continue to struggle with financial issues, as many neighboring cities will do as well. In our local election, just as a recap, there was the vote to join the Regional Fire Authority in the springtime, and we've had important elections just last week. The levy lid lift did not pass, so this could lead to financial challenges in the future. In the new year, however, we welcome several incumbents back to positions in our city council, board, and school district, and in addition, we welcome Erica Barnett, who has been newly elected to City Council Position 3. Now, all that to say, those are the politics, and while we are a civic organization, we also would like to shed some more light and attention towards the many other different sectors in our community. So tonight, ECR would love for us to look forward to 2026 and beyond. We want to honor the rich business and arts sectors of our community, specifically by asking speakers to peek into the future and to focus on the outlook of the general business community and the nonprofit arts communities. So our speakers tonight are all community leaders, well-informed citizens who will each give comments from the perspective of the two main sectors, the business sector and the nonprofit sector. We'd like to say that these speakers are not intended to be experts in the areas which we have asked them to speak. However, they are representatives who have agreed to survey a sampling of their community and to present an overview. We'll hear from the two speakers, and after they've spoken, we will moderate a discussion by posing a few follow-up questions. We'll see how the discussion goes, and then, as we often do at our programs, we will be processing the information during table time. And you're all seated at a round table now. Hopefully, you can have some takeaways and have a fruitful discussion with your neighbors later tonight. Before I proceed to introducing David Schaefer, I'd love to tell you about the two upcoming events by Edmonds Civic Roundtable. The first one is our year-end celebration. It is on December 8th at Point Edwards, 5:30 to 7 o'clock, and we'll be honoring all our civic leaders and those who make our programs possible. So it's a $10 donation. If you'd like to learn more, or if you'd like to RSVP, please go to our website. And then, can you believe it, next year, on January 5th, we are having another event here at the Waterfront Center, and we will be meeting our new police chief. So we'll be learning more about policing in Edmonds. So, all that to say, now I would like to introduce David Schaefer, who will then introduce our speakers and pose some follow-up questions for tonight. David is a longtime community member and volunteer at Edmonds, most recently being on the board of the Waterfront Center and the Edmonds Center for the Arts. He's a retired Seattle Times newspaper reporter, as well as a communications professional at Woodland Park Zoo and Port of Seattle. Fellow neighbors, let us please welcome David Schaefer.
Thank you, Nicole. as Nicole said, we wanted to take a break from politics to the extent we can for an evening. Edmonds is fortunate in its healthy arts community with an independent performing arts centers, symphony, chorale, arts festival, what has turned out to be a really great Northwest institution in Cascadia. So we're wanting to talk a little bit about what's going to go on, what the future is for the arts community, and at the same time, a great downtown with an independent bookstore, a number of independent retailers, and it's an opportunity for us to think about our city and what we can look forward to going forward. Sally Ralston is Executive Director of the Cascadia Arts Museum, has been on the board of the ECA and probably other stuff I don't know about, is going to speak first. Glenda Krull has been a real estate broker in Edmonds for a quarter century, I'm sorry. And is president of the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and it has an overview of the business community and what its outlooks are for next year. So Sally, if you would start.
Sure. Okay. You know, most of the time I don't use a microphone because I have a really loud voice, but if you can't hear me, please let me know. As David said, I'm Sally Ralston. I'm the Executive Director at Cascadia. It really is my good fortune to be the Executive Director. I've been there for almost 5 years, which is hard to believe. And yes, I've served on the Edmonds Center for the Arts Board for 9 years, and now I'm on the Emeritus Board, which just really means I did my time on the board and they kicked me up to the Emeritus Board. But I'm happy to be a part of that organization. And then the other thing I'd like to let you know is I've lived here for 40 years, 5 minutes from here, in the same house, raised my family here, built the house that I live in. Well, I didn't. My husband built the house that we live in. So Edmonds has been my home for a really, really long time. And I've seen a lot of changes, as I'm sure many of you have. But 40 years is significant when you look at a city and see all the things that happen and transpire there. So I wanted to let you know a little bit about that, about myself and my background. When Pat or Margaret, someone contacted me about doing this, the idea was to reach out to several nonprofits in the arts communities and give them a few questions and kind of gather that information and share it with you. So that's what I've done. And to make sure that I'm covering all of that correctly and the things that they told me, I'm pretty much just going to read my remarks, which is not usually my mode of delivering information, but it's important and I want to make sure that I get it all correctly. So over the past few weeks, I've reached out to several of our partners, the Driftwood Players, Olympic Ballet Theater, Graphic Arts Center, the Edmonds Center for the Arts, the Edmonds Arts Commission, the Creative District Advisory Board, and Cascade Symphony. Now, I know there are others in our community. They either didn't respond or I did not get to them, so get their information. So I wanted to hear their thoughts about how the arts are doing at Edmonds, what their challenges were, what their successes were, and some ideas that they have for the future. So first of all, as you all know, I'm speaking to the choir here, if you will. Edmonds is unique. We're not just a city that has arts organizations. We are an arts community. That truth was officially recognized when Edmonds became the first certified creative district in Washington state, something that all of us already knew. That label, that stamp that they gave us it's nice, and it looks nice on a label and on letterhead, but it's something we are new. If you live here, you know that we are the creative district, and we should probably be the first in the state. Creativity is in our DNA. It's in our theaters, our galleries, our classrooms, and studios, our volunteers, our donors. It's in the audience who fill our seats and attend our programs. Creativity isn't something that happens here. It really is who we are. Across Edmonds, our arts organizations have had a remarkable year. I'm going to start with Cascadia. Imagine that. Cascadia Art Museum, now in our 10th year. We continue to celebrate the stories of Northwest artists through exhibitions, publications, and collections that have drawn national attention. We recently received a promised gift of more than 85 paintings of Northwest masters and a financial gift of $1 million to go along with that gift. Cascadia has now published its 8th book. We publish more books about Northwest art than anybody else, anywhere. So it's part of our mission and what we do. And we continue to represent Edmonds as the regional art museum for Northwest art, receiving really international recognition. Driftwood Players, now in their 66th season, they presented 76 performances with a 98% occupancy rate, serving over 15,000 patrons. Their annual Festival of Shorts drew 635 scripts from around the world, and a new lighting system funded by donors now enhances every production. Olympic Ballet Theater just celebrated its 45th anniversary and 15th year under current leadership. They expanded their trainee program, strengthened outreach in Edmonds schools, and partnered with Cascadia Art Museum on a new cross-disciplinary project. We actually had ballet in the museum. It was awesome. Maybe some of you saw it. It was a really great thing, which I hope we can continue. They're dreaming about outdoor summer performances that combine dance, music, and art. Graphite Art Center. Creativity thrives daily there. They've partnered with 8 local schools, donated over $10,000 in art supplies, hosted 7 exhibitions, and launched an international Sketcher Fest that drew 500 attendees. Through collaborations with local schools and arts foundations, they show how arts builds community and imagination. Edmonds Center for the Arts. Their diverse programming continues to draw audiences from across the region, with performances by artists like Nico Case, The Wallflowers, and Judy Collins. ECA's partnerships, marketing investments, and new strategic plan underscore a commitment to both artistry and sustainability. Cascade Symphony Orchestra, now in its 64th season, the music continues to bring people together as the oldest community orchestra in South Snohomish County. Their gold medalist side-by-side program with Edmonds School District students, their Rising Star competition, and family concerts that introduce children and families to orchestral music. They also provide college and summer music scholarships, perform in senior living communities, and maintain partnerships with more than 60 local businesses. These programs not only enrich lives, but also affirm Edmonds' identity as a true creative district. So, of course, after all of those amazing things, there are some challenges. And many of our challenges in the nonprofit world, they overlap. Space remains one of the greatest needs. The ballet needs rehearsal and orchestra space. The theater needs modernization. And museums and galleries are outgrowing their walls. Funding is another challenge. Ticket sales rarely, if ever, cover these expenses. Grants and donations remain essential, but Snohomish County lags far behind King County in available arts funding. Cascade Symphony also noted the need for greater accessibility, both in parking and seating at the ECA, and expressed concern about the aging of audience and donors. They're proactively addressing this through a new under 50 ticket pricing and other outreach to younger audiences. Like many of us, they're also seeking stronger corporate sponsorships and broader community visibility. The Edmonds Arts Commission echoed these issues, noting that city budget cuts have reduced cultural services staff from 2 to 1, limiting the Commission's capacity to engage the community. These shared struggles point to shared opportunities, especially in collective advocacy. As ECA emphasized, the Creative District can help unite organizations around common goals, such as visibility, funding, and long-term sustainability. So looking ahead, one of the things that every group mentioned was collaboration, which is a good thing because we compete. We compete for donors, we compete for dates of whose gala is going to be first, whose is going to be next. Are you doing a writers in conversation on the same night that it's happening over here? So there's a lot of competition. Some of you know me, I'm a competitive person. And so I want to put Cascadia first, and there, my loyalty lies there. But yet, as I stated, I've lived here for 40 years. I love this city. And so at times I need to put that competition aside and look to see where can we really collaborate and help each other. The Arts Commission and Creative District Advisory Committee both see the future in terms of cooperation, identifying collective needs, addressing them one at a time, and positioning Edmonds as a true regional arts hub, essential to the city's economic vitality. So together we can create shared marketing and strategies and joint events to amplify visibility, work towards sustainable funding, possibly through the cultural access tax, update the city's cultural plan, and partner more closely with the city to grow the creative economy through facilities, education, and tourism. Building on the shared successes and challenges of Edmonds arts community, here are some really specific things that I've heard from some of my partners and some ideas that I've had myself of things that we can do collectively and collaboratively to move things forward, to move the ball forward. So I'm just going to kind of popcorn these ideas out, and maybe it's something that you could talk about in the roundtable as when we break for that. A shared digital hub or calendar could unify arts listings across all organizations. Street banners showcasing programs, exhibitions, etc., that bring visibility for people visiting our city and as a reminder to residents. The Creative District Committee should be leading these efforts. I sit on that committee and we do some good things, but there's a lot more that committee could do, and they should be leading these efforts. Unified Arts of Edmonds marketing campaign, not just for those businesses in the bowl, but all arts organizations. One consistent voice showcasing arts in Edmonds. Create a quarterly Arts in Edmonds guide, both print and digital, highlighting every organization's upcoming events and classes. Launch a rotating Arts Organization of the Month spotlight, shared across all partner newsletters and social channels. Launch a Creative District Pass or Arts Access card, offering bundled or discounted admission to multiple venues, museum, theater, ECA, symphony. A coordinated audience development and research initiative, which really interests me, to conduct shared audience surveys to understand demographics, attendance patterns, and community interests, and then to meet with all of those organizations and go through all of that data and look at that together. Create a citywide arts education initiative ensuring every student at Edmonds experiences at least one arts event a year. A lot of us see a lot of kids come through for field trips, but if the city had some initiative like that to say every single student in the Edmonds School District is going to touch the arts in some way in Edmonds. They're going to visit Cascadia. They're going to see a performance at Driftwood Players. They're going to do something at ECA. They're going to do something at Graphite. If they made that initiative and had, like all things, I'm sure it comes down to money, but if we could make something like that happen, that's significant. Create a citywide arts, I already said that. Produce seasonal community art collaborations such as Summer of the Arts or Winter Light Festival, combining performances, exhibitions, and hands-on art making. Partner with the city on a creative campus feasibility study to envision a multi-use arts center for Edmonds. Think about that. Cascadia we're bursting at the seams. Some of you probably read in the Seattle Times, we were looking at purchasing the Bellevue Arts Museum. We aren't. I'm sorry? Did you say really?
I said, that was it.
Yeah, so yes, we really did. So I think it's a misnomer to think that Cascadia is the Edmonds Museum. We're not. We are the regional art museum for the Northwest. Whether we're here in Edmonds or we're in Bellevue or we find our way to Linwood, we are that regional art museum. So one of the things that we talked about is joining, if Bellevue didn't work out, which it didn't, can we join forces with the Edmonds Center for the Arts? Is there room on their campus for the museum to be there? What does that look like? And how does the city help make that happen? And then lastly, an annual Creative District Day, a signature citywide festival with open houses, pop-up performances, and shuttle routes connecting all venues. If we are the first and the best creative district in the state, let's have a day to celebrate it. And Creative District Day in Edmonds, and make that happen. The arts nonprofits believe our strength lies in working together, but most important is being recognized by the city as essential to its cultural and economic future. Edmonds has something rare. We are a true arts identity. Their driftwood players light up our stage, Olympic ballet lifts our spirits, graphite fuels the creativity of the youth, ECA fills our city with music and performances that connect us to the world. Cascade Symphony gives us the gift of live music that inspires all ages, and Cascadia Art Museum preserves the stories of Northwest artists who define our region. We, the arts organizations, are the heartbeat of Edmonds, and we are stronger together. As we think about the future of our city, its growth, vitality, and identity, I encourage you to keep the arts at the center of the conversation. Because when the arts thrive, Edmonds thrives. Thank you. So lastly, I'm inviting all of you to visit the museum. So there is a guest pass somewhere. Pat can help. Oh, they're back there. So there's a guest pass. If you haven't been to Cascadia, please come. Let me know if you come to visit. I'd like to meet you. But there is a free guest pass here for you to come. So I hope to see you in the museum. Thank you.
And thank you, Sally. You gave us a great list of things to think about and do. There are probably other members of the Cultural District Board here tonight. Any? David Brewster? It's farther than I can see, but thank you for coming. Let me point out that the city is also, we're not talking about politics tonight particularly, but the city is also involved in support for the arts programs. Lori Rose from the Cultural Resources of the City is in the back of the room, has a bunch of materials out on her table, and invite you to, when you're going to pick up Sally's guest pass, to look at the other materials that they have available. In addition to a healthy and thriving arts community, we also have a business district that we treasure here, and I'd like Glenda Quill to talk about that.
Thank you, David. Yes, I am here to, my presentation is focused on what the Edmonds Chamber of Commerce has achieved so far and what we are headed towards as we move forward. So next slide, please. So yes, my name is Glenda Krall. I am the chair for the 25-26 chair for Edmonds Chamber of Commerce. Next slide. Our executive committee consists of 7 individuals. As you can see there, they are on the board. Next slide. We have 9 directors at large, and then we have 2 non-voting members who are the City of Edmonds and the Edmonds City Council. Our finances. So the chamber has grown a lot over the years. We've shifted from being mainly event-driven to balancing membership and event successes. So we've changed a little bit since we've gotten our new CEO, Ryan Crowther, who, I should have said this, by the way, is not here because he is on a anniversary honeymoon with his wife as we speak. I got to come. We've also started using pre-sale strategies for our events, which now covers about 2/3 of our event costs before the doors even open. And that's made a big difference. So looking at 2025, we knew it was going to be a tight year, and it was. Small businesses are still feeling it, and so is the chamber. But we're stable, steady, and smart about growth. We didn't blow it out of the water this last year, but we built a solid foundation, and we're focusing on sustaining the momentum from the past 2 years. Next slide. So the Edmonds Chamber Foundation, Lisa Epstein is the board chair. The structure of the Edmonds Chamber Foundation is a 501c3, so they can apply for grants from foundations, corporations, and the government. And most of what requires for a charitable nonprofit, which the chamber is not. The chamber is a 501c6. A key function of the Edmonds Chamber Foundation is the WISH Foundation, which is designed for members who have some kind of an emergency or something catastrophic happen, like broken windows from vandalism or a flood. So the Chamber Foundation allows $2,000 to $5,000 per year to assist a member in these type of issues. Our signature, next slide please, our signature community events, as we're all aware of, 5 of our 6 events are free to the public. Each one is fully funded and produced by the Chamber, powered by our staff of 3 at the Chamber of Commerce, Teresa Pape, our events and project manager, and Gio Newland, who is our, he's in charge of our social media, membership and communications, and Ryan, and then dozens of faithful volunteers who help every year for this. They make these events possible. Looking ahead, we anticipate the future events will come at higher costs, and we'll need to partner more closely with the community to help sustain these events beyond 2026. Next slide. Our networking events, we have the Morning Buzz, which we start the day with purpose with our Morning Buzz. It's a casual coffee networking that happens early morning. We share what's new. We usually have a guest speaker come to that, and it builds familiarity and strengthens relationships. We like to say this is where business cards turn into connections. Then we have Connect Edmonds, which is an after-hours social event. We feel that real relationships are built there. It's a relaxed environment for members to unwind. We have these events at different places about Edmonds. The people that attend these are not just members, but also people who are thinking about becoming a member of the Chamber. We have lots of members who don't even live or work in Edmonds. They come from Seattle because they do business here and they want to participate in our community. People do business with people they genuinely like. So the Connect Edmonds does make that possible. The next thing that we do is the community update, which keeps members informed on city, business, and community developments. In fact, today I believe there was an email that just went out a little while ago about the tree lighting, which I'm sure you'll want to ask me about later. The community update keeps members informed, connects local businesses, owners with city leaders and decision makers, and builds a voice for the business community. These updates make sure our members aren't just reacting, they're actually leading. And then ribbon cutting, that's celebrating local successes, which we love to attend. It highlights new and expanding businesses, brings visibility, media exposure, community pride, and reminds everyone that Edmonds is active and open for business. Each ribbon cutting is a symbol of growth for that business and for our city. Next slide. I'm sorry, next slide. Oh, there we are, membership.
This one or that?
Pardon?
This one?
Yes, membership. Thank you very much. Membership. All right, so let's talk about membership. Over the past few years, the Chamber has seen some amazing growth. And it's thanks to all of you showing up, staying involved, and spreading the word, and our CEO, Ryan Crowther, who is amazing at this job. If you look at the chart on the left, back in 2021, we had 377 members. That number barely moved in 2022, sitting at 384. But in 2023, things really picked up. We jumped to 440, and this year we're at 454, and as of today, we've hit 461 active members, which is big. That's 340 from just 2 years ago, which that is incredible progress. It shows that people want to be part of what's happening here in Edmonds, right? And here's the fun fact, Edmonds Chamber of Commerce is now the largest chamber in all of Snohomish County. And that is something to be proud of. Now, looking at the chart on the right, that's about retention, which is also very important. 19 are brand new members, less than a year in. 13% have been with us more than 2 years. 21 are in the 3 to 5 year range, and 16% have stayed 6 to 9 years. And 31% have been with us for more than 10 years. And I recognize several of you in the room here who I believe that does apply to. And that's huge. So thank you very much. It tells us that people don't just join, they stay because they see value, connection, and community. So really this slide does sum up that the Edmonds Chamber of Commerce this is what we're all about. Steady growth, strong relationships, and a community that believes in working together. Next slide. Explore Edmonds. So Explore Edmonds is a new thing that we're doing in the city chamber right now. It's a partnership between the Chamber of Commerce and the city of Edmonds. We are showcasing what makes Edmonds special. We're building awareness of Edmonds as a regional destination, increase visitation and economic activity for local businesses, celebrate our community's charm, creativity, and coastal beauty. Explore Edmonds tells our story. It's where people love to visit, shop, dine, and stay here. The partnership with the city for destination marketing is a contract we have. It's managed and executed by the Edmonds Chamber of Commerce, focused on sustainable growth and showcasing Edmonds' unique identity. This contract recognizes the Chamber's deep roots in the community and its ability to deliver results. The dedicated marketing and PR team is separate from the Chamber employees. They specialize in public relations, social media, website management, and active engagement through Explore Edmonds brand. Consistent storytelling is what's important here and highlights local businesses, events, and attractions. We invested in expertise, and sharing our message reaches both local and regional individuals. Upcoming features and coverage are on King 5 Seattle Magazine and the Seattle Times. We're bringing Edmonds to living rooms, newsstands, and online platforms across the region to keep us exciting and relevant. And I'll tell you why this matters. Economic and community benefits increase foot traffic, supports local restaurants, retailers, artists, boosts overnight stays, events attendance, and overall spending, builds civic pride, and reinforces Edmonds' identity as an exciting, welcoming city. This is more than just tourism. It's economic development and community pride at the center. So the Chamber's role is now a partner in both business promotion and community branding. Strengthening Edmonds' reputation as a destination strengthens every business, and we're connecting business, community, and visitors under one vision. We're not just about hosting events, we're building the Edmonds experience. Next. This is who we collaborate with, the Edmonds Creative District, Edmonds Live Music, FIFA, have you heard about that? It's coming up next year. Port of Edmonds and the City of Edmonds. That's who we're collaborating with to keep the Edmonds that we love right now. The Edmonds, next slide, please. And we're going to go ahead and skip this slide. We will have a presentation on this later. So that's what the Chamber is doing right now, and we have a great future ahead of us. There will be some changes, we realize that, but we are excited with our CEO, and a steady hand at the helm. We believe that we can weather the storms that we may have ahead of us. We have an exciting 2026 coming up, and there will be plenty to talk about after that for sure. So thank you.
Glenda, before asking questions of Glenda, most of you know, I think some of you know, that we have a business improvement district in Edmonds, which is a part of the city government. Their name is ED. Several of you probably have their umbrellas in your garage. We asked Sheila Cloney, who is the president of ED, to say a couple of words as well about business conditions in Edmonds.
Thank you for having me tonight. And I didn't bring my slide deck, but mine is equally impressive over, being the last speaker. My name is Sheila Cloney, and I'm the president of ED. And I also own a shop called Anchor Chic on Dayton, and I recognize a few people here who shop, so thank you for also being here. I was going to start with an old joke, which is that how do you know when you've reached a new city and you see the next Barnes & Noble, Gap, and Lululemon? And that's exactly what I was not looking for when I brought my business into Edmonds. Edmonds, I always refer to as a Hallmark town. It's just, you're out sweeping the street or whatever, and somebody goes by, and it's always very friendly. And what the two people before me said, I won't repeat all those things, but I agree with everything they're saying that creates that community spirit. And so ED, we are a business improvement district that was formed in 2013, and there are 350 members, so if you are located in our boundary area, you're in it. It's not a membership, it's a you're in it kind of a thing. We're a creature of the city in that we're a taxing district, and so essentially what's happened is the business assess themselves to pay for programs that nobody would otherwise be paying for. And our goal is to keep the downtown lively and attractive. And in that's all economic development, because if we have a nice place, a nice table set for businesses, then they want to come and be creative, and people want to come and shop. So we have our basic this is all, a lot of it is set under the RCW, so it's not like we can create any new community committee that anybody comes up with. We have, our work falls under safety and cleanliness, appearance and environment, transportation, which under that includes like wayfinding and parking, and we do business recruitment and retention. So when the invitation came up, this has been a very interesting year. It's been a very tough year. The downtown is an extremely delicate economic ecosystem. And it's been, I think that people want to just forget all about COVID, but I would say that any business you look at is still very much crawling out of COVID. And if you notice that there's nobody there to help you, or like at many places, like even the Starbucks, they're not even open because there's nobody to work. So that's still very much, it may be over for everybody else, but it's not over for many small businesses. But we are trying to weather the storm, and we are looking forward to the holidays coming up. And this Saturday, Ed has an event called First Dibs. It's an evening shopping activity, super fun, done it for many years. And then the Saturday after Thanksgiving is Shop Small Saturday, and that is kind of an offshoot of a national program where instead of going to big box, support your local merchants and restaurants. And then through the month of December, if you're probably familiar with the trolley that goes right through town, and there's Drink Bingo, which has always been a big hit with everybody. And so I guess my call to action to you is to continue to shop small and to continue to support the small businesses, especially now. Because, you know, one of the other things is I always say, I'm involved in another organization that's on the state level and national level. And the question is, like towns like Edmonds, you ask, where do you take your friends when they're in town? You're not taking them to Alderwood Mall. You're bringing them down to downtown Edmonds. And these areas don't stay the way they are and look the way they are by accident. It's a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice. And the part that the residents bring is the shopping local and patronizing and just keeping that community strong. So we appreciate all of everybody supporting independent businesses and know that the money you spend like directly goes to somebody who's paying for their child to go to school or paying for their soccer camp or whatever that is. It's not going off, you know, to another state. And the best thing I always like to say is I just came from a conference and Edmonds is always the toast of Washington. Everybody would cut their right arm off to be Edmonds. So, that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. So, because the programming committee of the Civic Roundtable is dominated by career educators, we're going to have a participation exercise in a few minutes, but I want to ask a couple of questions before we break to that. And Glenda, are you optimistic about the next year? What do you think going forward?
Well, we have a handheld mic. Oh, okay, passing on.
We are aware that the city's budget will pose some challenges to the chamber next year, but the chamber is here to complement the city. So we are going to work very hard. It may be that, you know, we reach out to get some more sponsorship, things like that. I'm sure that if you are a member of the chamber, you received that email today about the tree lighting will be taking place. But there's also a little button you can hit to help sponsor the tree lighting itself. And there's various amounts that you can sponsor with. So we will need some help for those items. We're well aware of that. But like I said before, with a very passionate and calm CEO that we have in Ryan Crowther, we will be able to do it. Nothing really phases him like it does a lot of other people. And so he remains calm, optimistic. He portrays that out onto his executive committee and the board members at large. So we're excited about 2026 coming up, and we're ready to face those challenges right on.
Thank you. And I guess this is to some degree a question for both of you. And I don't want to take away from the tabletop exercise, but if we were to walk out of here today, what's the one thing I could do as a citizen of Edmonds that would be helpful to the business community, besides shopping locally, and to the arts community? What can I do as a citizen to help our community go forward?
Well, I could think of several, and I don't want to be too trite about this, but it does come down to money. I mean, it really does. I mean, all of us are nonprofits. We rely on donations. As I said, our ticket price doesn't nearly cover what it costs to run a world-class museum that just happens to be in your city. So I think supporting the arts organizations through donations, through attendance, telling your friends, encouraging them to come, people from outside of Edmonds to come. It's participation. It's voting. Am I allowed to talk about voting? It's voting for the cultural access tax if that comes up. And then hopefully the city is, if that is passed, that the city is using that money correctly, that using that money to make the biggest impact, not necessarily spreading it around, but maybe where does it go to really make the biggest impact for the city. So again, it sounds a little crass, but it does come down to money.
Okay, I wonder, we've got a few minutes left. I wonder if there are questions in the audience for any of the speakers.
I think perhaps, if I have a suggestion,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking.
Microphone.
Sorry, I'm an elementary school teacher, so, you know.
As I pointed out.
I think perhaps something I've learned that sometimes we're going to be talking as tables and then we're going to be sharing out. So I think some questions may pop up from there that if we're okay with that, to wait until afterwards to see if as we talk, sometimes in community, questions will come up or questions could be answered as well.
Well, then, Chrissy, do you want to just go to the tabletop exercise and see what happens?
Are you okay with that?
Okay.
All right. My name is Chrissy Roberts. I'm part of the program committee, and this is one of my favorite parts because clearly I love to talk. So we're going to be sitting with our tables. If you're not sitting at a table, I encourage you to join one. Please feel free to pull up a chair if there's not one there.
We got room over here.
There's lots of room over there. They're nice men, I promise. So what we're going to be talking about today, before we start, first of all, make sure to introduce yourself to everyone. And then I'd love it if one person could kind of be the designated person to kind of remember some things that you talked about or jot them down. We're going to just be talking about your takeaways from today. What are some things that you were surprised to learn? What were some things? I know the sale of trying to purchase Bellevue Arts, I also was surprised. So, yeah, I know, right? So, what were some things that you were surprised about? What were some things that you didn't know and now you do? Perhaps there were some things you kind of want to talk to people about what your hopes and dreams are for the business community and our arts communities in Edmonds. Maybe you want to talk about just kind of challenges that you've seen or things that how our community can support businesses and arts and what kind of importance you feel, what impact have they made on your life. Lots of different things you could talk about. I'm sure that you have plenty of things to say. So we're going to have some time for you to talk, and then at the end, we're probably going to go around to every table and just pick out a couple of your top ideas. This is what I do with my students. We want your top 2 ideas at the end to share with the group. So we can get some ideas from everyone, and that's where some questions could come out, or just some ideas that you have, or just some things, some big takeaways for your table. Was that clear or not clear? Good, okay. What I heard was... See, she's an elementary school teacher too. She's starting with what I heard was introduce yourself around the table, think and talk about what you learned, what was a surprise, and how you're going to maybe support the arts in the business communities. And then if you have any burning questions to bring back to the big audience, you can. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead. And if you're not at a table, please join one. We'd love for you to join any table here. Please feel free to pull up chairs.
About 10 minutes.
10 minutes, please. Thank you. And I'll just go around to the tables and see if you have a couple of ideas or questions or takeaways that you wanted to share. So that sounds great. Okay, I'm going to start here because I know you're organized.
That's because Nicole's here. That's why.
There you go. Okay, hope we're not getting it.
Yeah.
You can stand up. Sure.
Okay. Hi again. Oh, wow. Hello, Chancellor. Something's happening now. Okay. Hi, neighbors at the back.
Wow.
You're good.
Okay, great.
What number was on that one?
I don't know.
Well, just stand away from the speaker.
Okay. Hello. Walking. Okay. Oh, that's better. All right. Hi again. So, the one idea that we tried to flesh out was the community calendar. And the reason being is because at ECR, we've also tried to talk about how we can make that work. It seems like there is a need or a strong desire for everyone to find a place to say, what's happening in Edmonds today? What's happening in Edmonds this week? So then the question became, what will it take to make that happen? So then the ideas were, well, you need probably at least one person, and their sole job is to focus on managing the calendar. And then you need another person, and their sole job is to field all the events and make sure it's still on time. And then you need the resources to have the calendar operate. And that all requires money. So that's where we stopped. But it seems like there is some consensus, and if you would like to learn more or help us figure that out, please reach out to Edmonds Civic Roundtable. Thank you.
I'm going to take that microphone back from you. All right, now let's see if we can avoid all speakers. Does this table want to share some of the ideas that you popped up? You can pass, that's fine.
I guess we can share a surprise.
Oh, yes, it should be surprise, sounds great.
The surprise was how Cascadia could, or that they could move.
Yeah. I think you need to publicize that where you get a lot more donors. Nobody wants you to move. So that is a surprise. That was a surprise for lots of us, so that's good to hear that news. Does this table have a couple things this year?
So the idea of a centralized events page, nobody knew Judy Collins came to town. We didn't know there was a ballet. We didn't know we had an orchestra. One of the other issues was, if we're gonna be a destination, we need a place to stay. It's awful hard to have a destination of Edmonds if you can't stay here. I'm gonna use the P word, parking. That's what we had.
Thank you very much. Brought up a lot of good points there. Okay, so we have a couple of ideas here.
Yeah.
Big ones. Good. I like big ideas.
Well, one of the things that our table discussed was, there's, and this has been an ongoing debate, I think, for a long time. We all think of Edmonds as the bowl down here, and we have other neighborhoods and areas to service, so we want to make sure we aren't forgetting them. Up on the highway, the Five Corners area, Furdale, those places. And so I guess the question becomes, how do you incorporate them into some of these tools? And I think the calendar is a great idea. And I would also recommend or hope that, and I'm sure you all do, that you partner really well with the local newspaper here, My Edmonds News. I mean, holy smokes, they really do a lot. So give your support to those folks as well, just as subscribers to the paper, and keep them going. It all is a big circle.
Thank you so much.
Can I just say something?
Sure, you can go ahead.
One of the things that I mentioned that other people at the table didn't know, so the thrift store, which is a big support for the waterfront center and the senior programs. And now they just built an auxiliary in the Harbor Square for furniture and larger items. But like this gentleman here didn't know that there was a place like that, because he brings everything to the Goodwill.
No!
And the point is that, if these people didn't know anything about it, then a lot of other people don't know anything about it. And the donations really do make a huge difference.
That annex, the furniture store, is pretty awesome if you haven't been there. It's really nice. Okay, does anybody, okay.
Yeah, so we had lively discussion. It was really fun, and I love the participation. Help me. That we have participation. So we were interested in the creative day, having a whole day set aside for all the creatives and being a creative district. And the other thing we talked about was the calendar, and we said My Edmonds News. They already have a tab, so we've got someone at our table that is going to talk to Teresa about that and maybe enhance that. So we'll see what comes out of that, because it's something that's already there. We were daunted by the calendar as well, and the logistics of it. We were surprised by Cascadia, so that was good news. That was news that maybe we can work on. And then also surprised by the business district that Sheila talked about. So how delicate perhaps it is. And so that was also, because it always seems to be thriving and busy. So that was information that was good.
Thank you so much. Let's scoot on over here. Do we have a speaker at this table? A reluctant speaker.
Many of the ideas that have come up are some that we talked about. I think the biggest one is just awareness and finding a way to be more, have a stronger marketing approach as far as like the Explore Edmonds. I didn't know about that, and I'm someone who's a heavy user on anything that's online. So pushing that through, maybe that's something that can, like with Edmonds News or my Edmonds News, kind of making sure that's a part of the communication. One other, we talked about the 99 corridor and how that plays into the art piece in Edmonds, because it is an important part of our city in terms of cultural and just, you know, different demographics and different stories that we can tell there, and potentially talking about maybe a shuttle that might allow people to come from the light rail down into different parts of Edmonds to explore Edmonds further from other areas.
That's a good idea. All right, anybody from the table? Oh, here we go.
Hi, we talked about having the arts district, the creative district, be the lead agency for all the various artistic entities to get together under an umbrella on the order of the chamber, so that they're working together. They can do the calendar together. They can support one another and their needs, and then focus on one or two issues that are most important to most of them a year or over a time period, instead of, I'm going to use the example, if I had $100 and gave you each 10, it's nothing. But if I gave one of you $100, it's something. And you work on that principle of what's the greatest impact that you can have in a short period of time. And we love the idea of the calendar, and we want to add the movie theater to the list of entities.
Yeah, thanks. The movie theater's doing shows now, like live shows, comedy shows. I don't know if everybody knows that. I went one the other day. It was spectacular. All right, anybody here?
So we touched on a lot of things that have already been mentioned, the awareness factor, the calendar. Talked about not just sort of general awareness and marketing, and maybe that's an opportunity for the art sector to collaborate on marketing, but also just individual awareness of the individual groups, and how to get the word out for like artworks. It was something that we spent a lot of time talking about. What else? Talked about, well, Mary Ellen had what I liked as the best idea of the day, which was, you know, Sally talked about arts groups coming together and collaborating. We heard from Ed and the Chamber, which is a group of businesses coming together and collaborating. But are there ways for the business community and the arts sector to collaborate together more? And so we talked about that also.
Good idea. All right.
I'm putting Megan on the spot.
So to speak to the need for a calendar, the Explore Edmonds website has an events calendar already on it. And if you go to the website and go to events, there's a laundry list of different things going on. So I'm sure there's ways that could be improved or grown, but I think there's a platform out there to at least start and leverage that idea even further.
That's great to know.
That information.
We will continue that effort.
Did you want to say?
Yeah, one other thing that we talked about is the possibility of trying to really get a handle on what facilities we actually have around our community. Is there a way to, we've got the Edmonds College, I know it's not in Edmonds, but boy, what a host of buildings up there that could house some arts kinds of things, some spillover kinds of things from the arts community. So I think that was your idea.
Is that Snohomish County?
I don't.
Good question.
Oh,
she does.
But I work there. We're part of the State Board of Community and Technical Colleges.
The state. Awesome. All right. If you haven't seen that Explore Edmonds website, I follow it on Instagram. It makes me feel real cool because the social media influencers make me feel like, wow, look at how cool I am that I live in this town. It's pretty cool. Anyways, last table. Save the best for last.
There you go. Okay, several members of our table here are with the Historical Museum in Edmonds, and we think collaboration is a real key word for all of us. Whether it's a business community or whether it's the cultural aspects or arts, we need to be collaborating with people, not only in Edmonds, but outside of Edmonds. We tap so much into our local community for donations, for support, and I think we need to reach out a little bit more, and that's what I'm trying to do, we're trying to do. We also need volunteers, and I don't know how many of you have problems getting volunteers, but we would be open 5 days a week, which everybody keeps saying they want us to be open 5 days if we had more volunteers. So that's another key I think that the creative district maybe can look into as well. And anything else anybody that we brought up? We also talked about children. We need to really focus a lot more on our children who are growing up here for their education, for their scholarships and things like that. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for those great ideas. Oh, we got one more good idea that popped right up.
I just wanted to add a follow-on to one of the tables commented, suggested a shuttle between the link and downtown. Actually, Community Transit already has one. I think it's the 909 line from Montlake Terrace to downtown Edmonds.
Needs to run more frequently.
Run once a week or what?
No, it runs pretty often. Didn't we do a thing on the bus, Roger? And we all had everybody take the bus, right? Oh gosh, here we go. Oh, we missed. Oh. Absolutely, please do.
Since it seems like so many people are fixated on the calendar, which I am as well, I'd like to point out that the entity that benefits from the calendar ultimately is the city. So if the city, as you know, because for Cascadia to take on the calendar, I can't take that on for all of the arts communities. Graphite can't do that, but the city benefits from that. So if there's a localized calendar that's pushing people, that can be advertised through Explore Edmonds, Ed, all the other different entities that are marketing, and pushing people to one website, one calendar that has everything there, the city benefits from that. So that's where the ownership of the calendar needs to be. That might be too poignant for this group. This is my first time coming. I don't know if I'm allowed to be this direct, but I'm going to be. That's where the ownership of the calendar needs to be. And whether that is the Creative District Committee, they get a little bit of money. We get a little bit of money for being the Creative District. Is that money that can be spent to create a calendar? I'm going to disagree with David Brewster, which I don't very often. I don't think it takes two people. I think it's one person.
You said a little bit, and that's the key point.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But yes, I think it's one person that can manage that. Is there someone in the government now, in the city government now, that can manage a calendar? Now it would be it would be up to all of us as the nonprofit to feed the information. I wouldn't expect a phone call every week to say, hey, what's going on? That's up for me to make sure they get the info. But it benefits the city to have the one calendar.
Thank you so much. I know we have a lot of calendar ideas. We have one more person who wants to say something, and we are needing to wrap up because I see the Waterfront Center person is right there. I want to ask them. So,
I'll be really quick. I just wanted to say to the comment talking about facilities and what's available, that the city and the community have done periodically a community cultural plan. That cultural plan has not been updated since 2014, which is really unfortunate. But it's for 3 years we've been trying to get it updated, but hopefully that will happen soon. But in the back of that plan, one of the pieces of it is a whole analysis of what facilities are available. Where can people do things in the arts? And what things now, it's now 10 years out of date. But it's a good place to start. So if you're thinking about putting together a resource for that, that's a good place to start now, even before it's been updated, because it gives you a lot of ideas about different kinds of options that are available. And it's, the whole piece of facilities is a huge and really important piece of keeping the arts vital and active in our community.
Thank you so much, everyone. This is my favorite part of our Edmonds Civic Roundtable events, is when we all get to talk to each other. Okay, one more comment really fast.
So one thing I'm
Michael, no, for the video.
For the video. So one thing I'm hearing is, obviously finance is a problem. So this has come up over and over again. There's a huge volunteer community in this community. So you want to do a calendar and say it does fall under the city's umbrella, but then you can pull in volunteers, people who are web savvy, people who are savvy in other things to help support that. And it wouldn't be full time, it's whatever, but you'd have to have some structure to how it's going to get done. But, and for a lot of other things we're hearing. So keep in mind your volunteer community too for some of these things, because we all know it's going to be tight coming up for everybody. So I think that's something we could keep in mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a really important piece. A really important piece of it all. So I think we are going to wrap up shortly. Yes. Okay, we're going to wrap up. I'm going to introduce Nicole Gaba again.
Hello again, neighbors. Okay, I'm going over here. Okay, well, I would like to first say that this is probably one of the most positive, enthusiastic, and kind events that I've been to in a very long time. So thank you so much for bringing that positive energy. And one of the quotes that I tell myself every morning is, if I want to be part of a village, I need to be willing to be a good villager. And in this room, we have a lot of really willing, good villagers who want to support the arts and the business sector. So as we wrap up, I encourage you, as you grab that free guest pass from Cascadia, thank you very much, is maybe you find a new village buddy. Maybe you find someone to go with that you met tonight, or maybe take someone else in another part of your life, and hopefully you continue the conversation. Like, what part of the arts community or the business community this month do I want to support? And maybe you just pick one thing every month. Maybe next month it's the tree lighting, because you may not have it next year. I don't know. Or maybe on January, maybe you go to our event. Who knows? But if you just continue that mindset of just do one thing and just be a good villager, because from this room I can feel the authenticity and the genuine love for Edmonds. And if we carry that through the rest of our days, it takes a village, and we have a good one. So thank you all. We hope to see our December 8th event and our January 5th event. Have a good night. Thank you to our speakers.